Have you ever seen someone try to sell their business quickly? And how did that turn out? According to a 2023 study of approximately 6.07 businesses sell themselves to others. In other words, selling a business has 1 out of 16 likelihood of happening. Those are some pretty bad odds. So here's the question of the day. How can we improve those odds of selling your business? This is today's subject. So let's talk about this. Most people want to sell their businesses tomorrow morning or next month or the month after. There's very little planning given, very little thought given towards how to increase EBITDA in order to get a higher selling price. Because as you probably already know, most businesses sell for a multiple of EBITDA, which is earnings before depreciation, interest, tax, and amortization. In other words, it's your operating profit. If you sell a business that makes $100 EBITDA on average per year, you should be able to sell it for $5 or $6 or $7 or $800. So for every dollar you put into improving your EBITDA, you can get a return of 5, 6, 7, 800% or more. As a matter of fact, just learn about a financial service business in a city not far from here that sold itself to a credit union for 16 times EBITDA. Friends, that's some great planning to pull that off. And that is what it takes, isn't it? If you're wanting to maximize the value at the sales time of your business, you need to start planning now. See, proper planning increases the likelihood of getting the best possible price for your business. It allows time to strengthen your financials, it strengthens your operations and your market position. And if you're like most business owners, you need to learn how to transition your business so that it can survive without you, or better yet, even prosper without you. That is the selling proposition for the buyer. Just yesterday, I was speaking to a regional CPA firm that has mergers and acquisition division, and they are struggling to sell businesses. As we talked for a while, it became kind of obvious that one of the problems is they're not maximizing the value on their balance sheets. Most people maximize the profit and loss. I get it. We all get it. That's priority. You can see that. It makes sense. Every month you get a P&L and you can say you're up or down, your sales are good, your sales are bad, what have you. But creating value off a balance sheet is something very different, but can appreciate much, much more on the bottom line. So let's talk about this. The goal of this M&A firm, and rightly so, is to sell their client's firm to another business owner for the most money possible. In order to do that, I suggested that they take a look at creating value off the balance sheet, and they'll go a lot farther than just trying to market to more businesses. So let's do a couple things here. Let's talk about our steps. Our first one we just touched on, maximizing value. Our second step is going to be to reduce risks and surprises. How do you do that? Well, we're going to identify potential deal breakers before they become obstacles. We're going to ensure that all financial, legal, and operational issues are resolved well in advance of the sale. Now, here again, I have a great example of that. There was a business not long ago that was trying to sell itself, and everything was going great. The M&A firm that came in to sell the business was very positive and upbeat, which they should be because the business was very profitable. It was quite the surprise. But when they got into doing their due diligence before putting the business up for sale, they found that there was a legal issue hanging over that business owner's head that was substantial and could have a rather devastating effect on the price they sold for that business. So in that case, the legal people came in and they worked with the business owner and they cleaned up that huge issue. It took a number of months, but they finally cleared it up. And then that business is ready to go to market and sell. So these are a few things we want to do. You know, there's a little side one there too. We've noticed that some of these firms, when you're trying to sell their real estate, can have some sizable environmental issues. What we've been recommending to business owners to do for a number of years now is to at least do a phase 1 environmental and see where the bodies lie, so to speak, and if there's any problems with selling that real estate. And if there is, then figure out the next step before you sell it. Now let's talk about number 3. We want to achieve our personal and professional goals. This can be tricky. Businesses are usually built around families, small and medium-sized businesses especially. So what we want to do is align the transition with personal retirement, family, and career plans. Sounds so much easier to say than it is to do. I've been there. I've been there for months and even years with families trying to put their act together, so to speak, and lay down problems and create unity and come up with a plan. It can be done. It just needs time and work. And then part of that is we're going to ensure your business legacy and continuity, whether through it's a sale, a succession, a merger, or even turning it into an ESOP. There are several ways you can transition, but you got to determine what's going to be best for your firm and your family. So we had our first one. We're going to maximize value. Number 2, we're reducing risks and surprises. Number 3, achieving personal and professional goals. But now here's number 4. We're going to ensure a smooth transition for stakeholders. We want to protect our employees because obviously we can't run a business without them. We want to protect our customers. Can't run a business without customers. And our suppliers all during the transition. We want to minimize disruption and maintain trust and reputation. Part of this equation is also you want to maintain your confidentiality throughout. You don't want to just offer your business to sale to just anybody who comes to the door or anybody you see on the street, obviously. You don't necessarily want your employees or your customers or your suppliers to know that you're trying to sell your business for fear of them learning that you're selling your business and they quit servicing your business or supplying or buying. So we want to maintain our trust and our reputation. We want to minimize our disruption. It can be done. It takes thought and process. And part of that process is getting your NDAs right. So what we do is we send out the NDAs to the prospective buyer blind, so to speak. There's usually a 1-page flyer that tells you what is for sale. It usually does not say where or who, but it gives you specifics in terms of income and industry. Then they sign the NDA, the non-disclosure agreement, and you come back and approve that NDA and approve sending the data out to that prospective buyer, and we take it to the next step. Let's introduce a concept here that can help you. The concept of a month-by-month action plan to prepare the business for sale or liquidity event. Number 1, we just brushed on above. You're going to set your objectives. You're going to define your personal, financial, and professional goals for the transition. You want to clarify the ideal outcome for you and the business and your family. That's your month 1 objective. Number 2, month 2, you want to assemble your advisory team. You're going to engage key advisors, your accountant, your attorney, financial planner, M&A advisor, maybe an insurance agent. There's quite a few people that you should be involving in this process. This is not a turn the light switch off and it's done kind of routine. This takes time and effort in order to be successful. Month 3, we want to assess the business value. You're going to have to obtain a professional valuation. We can get into that later. There's lots of ways to do that. Lots of firms you can hire to do that. And some are even free for certain aspects. Some are rather expensive, but you're going to have to get a professional valuation in order to assess the business value. So we want to understand the factors driving value and the areas of improvement. This can actually be a rather beneficial activity, even if you change your mind and decide not to sell your business. When you understand what your business is really worth, the value can be very, very high. And then when you understand that perhaps your business is not at all close to what you thought it was valued, now you can look for areas of improvement. This is not done in vain. This is done to help you today, tomorrow, and every day, whether you sell or not. So month 4, we're going to review your financials and your operations. Audit your financial statements and your operational processes, and identify and resolve weaknesses. This is a full contact sport if to be done successfully. If you want to drive the business value up higher, you're going to have to understand why your business works now and how it's going to work in the future and how you can improve it right now. Because remember, we go back to that first concept. For every dollar of additional EBITDA, you're going to sell it for $5, $6, $7, $8 more. So the effort and the financial cost at this point is going to pay off in spades down the road. Month 5, I kind of touched on this above. We're going to address our legal and compliance issues. So the question is, how do you know that? How do you know what your legal and compliance issues are? Trucking firms have a million compliance issues, but so do gravel pits, so do certain retailers, so do a lot of manufacturers. We have OSHA, we got EMSA, we have so many different compliance issues, state, federal, even local laws and ordinances that you must apply for and make sure you're meeting. For you understand, when a buyer comes in, especially a large buyer, if it's a private equity firm or a sophisticated buyer, they're going to look at all those compliance issues too. And if you haven't already addressed them and fixed them before you go to market, at the very least, you're going to have a delay. And worst case, you're not going to have a sale. So we want to ensure contracts, licenses, intellectual property are all current and protected. But let's go down that little bunny trail for just a second. What are you doing about your intellectual property? If you have an R&D program of any sort, you want to protect that intellectual property. As a matter of fact, I was dealing with a factory in Texas, and the purchasers wanted to buy a going business, but they were bringing their own intellectual property that could be utilized by that factory. The more the buyers got involved with the seller, the more they realized they didn't have just one intellectual property. They had many, many intellectual properties. Then when it came time to look at financing that purchase, these gentlemen had intellectual property that they could then take to market. It is not cheap to get intellectual property borrowing power, but the return is phenomenal. Suddenly, after several months of going through the process, the buyers realized that intellectual property was worth more, much, much more, like a factor of 10, more than the factory was. So they just had to figure out how to monetize their intellectual property. You too, maybe you have a business worth 50, 60, 80, 100, $200 million, whatever the number is. Have you looked at your own intellectual property? If you can get a valuation on that intellectual property, and there's several outfits who do that, and that's one thing I learned too, you have to have the right outfits value intellectual property. Here again, it's not cheap, but if you have an outlay of $20, $30, $50, $100,000 to get the intellectual property valued, and that intellectual property comes back at $100, $200, $300, $500 million, which I have seen, suddenly your business is no longer worth that meager amount. It's worth a much, much higher amount. This is one of the advantages of doing all the research and going through the monthly steps to ensure your business is as profitable as possible. Next, month 6. Here, let's just review again. Month 1, we're setting your objectives. Month 2, you're assembling your advisory team. Month 3, you assess your business value. Month 4, you review your financials and operations. And month 5, we're reviewing our legal and compliance issues. And now we're up to month 6. We want to optimize your business structure. So we want to review your ownership structure for tax efficiency and transition readiness. And if need be, consider restructuring at that time. If you're a sole prop, hallelujah, that there's much to be done to make money. If you are a LLC, you can pull your money out of the business as a paycheck. If you're a subchapter S, you can pull your money out of the business as a paycheck or as distributions, dividends, etc. There are so many ways to pull money out of a business. This is where your CPA or your tax attorney need to be highly involved, because they should be able to tell you exactly how to structure your business for tax efficiency. That's why we assembled your business advisory team back on month 2. Everyone's got a specialty. My specialty is I find value in your balance sheet that most people don't realize is there. Your CPA has obviously the tax understanding and experience. Your attorney is going to bring the legal aspect into it. Makes perfect sense. Your financial planner, be it a CFP, which we've worked with before, or an insurance agent or what have you, who is your financial planner, That may be your CPA as well, but it may be different. That person should be able to line you up with expertise on your investments. Your M&A advisor. I love my M&A advisors. I've worked with quite a few in the last few years. They are usually highly intelligent people, highly personable people, very, very enjoyable to work with so many of these M&A advisors because they understand that side of the house so well. But you also want to find one who knows how to sell. Unfortunately, I've seen quite a few CPA firms that have turned themselves into advisors, and they don't know how to sell. Back to month 7 now, we're going to be doing a lot more work to get you up to date. We want to develop a succession plan or a sales strategy. You want to decide between an internal succession, sale to a third party, merger, ESOPs, other kind of options. And then you want to outline your criteria for potential buyers or successors. There's a lot to be worked on here. Month 7 can be a challenging month. Month 8, you're going to prepare your marketing materials and confidential information memorandum. Many times this is done by the M&A firm. You must do this correctly, though, or you're not going to get the money out of your business you need. It should be done on a very high level. It should be very professional. It should have, basically, you need a one-pager to start with, as we say. A one-pager is just simply what it sounds like. We take one page and we highlight the benefits of your business and how you're unique and special and profitable without giving away the farm. And that would go back to the NDA. Once that NDA is signed, then we're going to submit to them the SIM, which is the Confidential Information Memorandum. And then they're going to take it from there to decide whether or not they want to have a conversation with you about buying your firm. So that marketing material and that SIM, Confidential Information Memorandum, is going to create a compelling business profile for you. It's going to highlight your strengths, your growth opportunities, and your strategic value. I've seen some that also highlight your superior ability to address the market over your competitors. It's all a very well thought out plan to make this happen. Month 9, identify and qualify potential buyers or successors. We want to engage with your prospects confidentiality, and then we're going to vet their qualifications, resources, and alignments with your goals. Month 10, you're going to negotiate the deal terms. So you're going to work with all those advisors we talked about above to make sure everything is legit, the legalities are there, the price is there, the terms are there, contingencies, transition arrangements, i.e., are you staying on as the owner? Are you staying on for 1 year, 2 years, 5 years? And we're going to ensure your alignments with objectives set back in month 1. Month 11, you're going to prepare for closing and transition. You're going to finalize your legal documents and financial arrangements. You're going to plan your transition for your employees, your customers, and your suppliers. Here again, don't take this lightly. There's a lot to be done, but the payoff for the owner can be substantial if done correctly. Finally, in month 12, you're going to execute your transition, and then you're going to celebrate. Go to wherever you like to celebrate to. Go to the Caribbean, go to Europe, wherever. Or maybe it's just you stay home in front of the fire in the wintertime and prop your feet up and congratulate yourself with a good glass of wine. Whatever your case is, you got to execute that transition smoothly, though. Everyone needs to have been communicated with. All the stakeholders in your firm need to know what's going on and step A, B, C, D, et cetera. How is it going to happen? Who's going to take over? Who's the new leadership? Is your bank staying the same? Your lawyers staying the same? Products are staying the same? What have you? This is the big transition. So here's a recap. We want to understand the importance of planning for a business exit or business liquidity event. We want to encourage people to start early. Follow the 12-step roadmap above for a successful transition. And feel free to reach out to us with any questions. We're always here to help. Success at AmericasBusiness.Coach. Now, I have a little announcement for you. Coming up in the next few weeks, we're going to be introducing investment banks, commercial banks, other lenders, insurance firms, CFAs, CFPs. We're going to introduce quite a few people to you in the months forward so that you can start picking their brains, understanding what they're looking for to help you become the biggest success that you can be. God bless.